Thank you very much, Ruckus. Thank you. And of course, as Ruckus said, Hasseltom is here with us this morning to just talk about the partial reopening of the food sector. Also, manufacturing is reopened as well as car dealership and just what that will mean. But more importantly, talking about the food sector for him, because we have a border reopening coming up soon. We have mass vaccination coming up soon. And of course, we have the food industry partially reopened. Good morning to you, Hasseltom.
Good morning, Natalie, and good morning to your listeners and viewers.
All right, just talk to us about Saturday when the announcement was made by the Prime Minister that food services would be reopened. You know, what that meant for your association.
Well, let's say that it's something that for us has been too long in coming. However, it's very, very welcomed, and we have been working, advocating behind the scenes for the progress. Obviously, having to take into consideration the data, the science, and what we must do to reopen in a safe manner to ensure that when the opportunity comes, that the public is not put at risk when visiting any establishment to collect their takeout or pick-up meal curbside. It's a start, and we hope that the start goes welling up so we can influence further reopening once everyone is following the guidelines of the protocols.
And that was my next question, is that we don't have the in-house dining. So in essence, the association or the members of this association are still affected. If you're in a hotel, you can't do in-house dining. I mean, hotels don't do curbside pickup, at least not before. What's happening now? Are people, pivoting, changing the way they do business so that they can survive?
Well, you had to, and you have to continue in that form or fashion for some time to come. Hotels, as you rightly said, do not have in-house dining at this time, but they're doing room service or packaged meals. So it's just, let's focus. We have refocused our efforts on how we ensure that room service meals are attractive for clients who want to come, get out, but still must be confined in some way or fashion. But at the end of the day, we want to do things right so then we can get further allowances to do a little bit more. But for now, it's packaged or room service meals with all the protocols being observed.
Right. And so this brings me to the next point. With this partial reopening, of course, we have the food sector, but we have the border that is supposed to be reopened come the 17th of July, I think it is. How will that, impact or influence the association, the members of the association?
Well, the association, fortunately for us, in the past, or quite a few of the past press conferences that were hosted, you would notice changes from a Saturday to take effect on a Monday, which is really less than 48 hours. However, with the border reopening, they gave us at least a month's notice.
Yeah.
Prior to that, the association and its members, stakeholders have been involved in training with CARFA to ensure that everything is done right. This is in conjunction with the Tourism Trinidad Limited. Incidentally, there is a meeting today with the Tourism Trinidad Limited on the reopening protocols to make sure everything is in place. And so we've had some time, and it's very appreciative that the Prime Minister also gave for the food service, at least he gave a week notice. So then establishments can get their place sanitized, get staff in place, get people geared. And more importantly, to supplement all of that, we have been at the forefront in terms of advocating, meeting with the minister on behalf of an alliance with the association and non-association members, because we saw the importance of reopening this sector, not just for its members, but so the entire sector and all the elements of the sector can reopen in a safe and sound manner so that the confidence is there for one, staff to go back to the operations, and two, patronage from customers who've been longing to get back to both going to hotels, even the hotels were not officially closed, but to be able to partake in purchasing food in a very safe manner.
Right. And we have the vaccination drive. Well, we have 400,000 vaccines coming into the country tomorrow. And I think that's a huge number that can vaccinate, quite a bit of people. Plus, I think before we had up to 200,000 plus vaccines, so, this could vaccinate at least 300,000 plus nationals with this mass vaccination drive. What do you think? How do you think it will affect, the tourism part of the association going forward? Because, a lot of times people say the way out of this is through vaccination. So this, even with the reopening on Saturday, I think a lot of people were more looking at, okay, vaccines are coming, so now we don't have to worry about another shutdown.
Well, even though the vaccines are coming, and let me just reiterate, we've been advocating, actually, I've had quite a few discussions with the minister on behalf of the food and beverage sector. We have another one today, and we are hoping to move the process along because the minister has spoken to the private sector because of the success experience from the Supermarket Association and the construction sector, the banking sector. So the minister has been meeting with the wider private sector, and in particular the food and beverage service sector, to ensure that we can get in as much persons as possible vaccinated, and to supplement that with the border reopening and changes to the access policy to the country, where vaccinated persons, once they can provide a negative PCR test, won't have to quarantine. We see it as a win-win. However, we must go into it wanting to come out of it successfully. So I would expect that every stakeholder in the tourism industry, the food and beverage service industry, would put things in place, not as previously, where once curbside was happening, nothing was done to ensure that physical distancing and people were wearing masks, etc., when they come in to pick up food. I am hoping that a different approach will be taken. As an association and as part of an alliance that has been advocating for this, we will pull out all the stops to, one, make sure as much of our team members and staff are vaccinated. And not that we think that vaccine is the way out of it, but it's the right thing to do. But it supplements that thinking, as well as we will ensure that our operations ensure that we don't only put the protocols in place to get reopened, but we enforce and monitor so we can influence further relaxation of the protocols by proof of things being safe and sound throughout the entire process.
So Tom, apart from vaccination, what else is it going to take? What more does it need to grow this sector? Because I mean, a lot of businesses are just going to be non-existent after this pandemic. Some of them are already non-existent because they just weren't able to survive the lockdowns that we've had to put in place to manage the numbers, the amount of positive cases. What more do you think it's going to take to start growing the sector and the economy?
Well, I think it's going to take a very collaborative approach from the government, the banking sector. We need to look at not only CAL alone coming in with the reopening of the borders, but we need to see the international airlines coming back in as quick as possible. And we also need a collaborative approach to marketing the destination. The more people we can have seeing the destination, seeing that Trinidad and Tobago is a safe place. While we are speaking about Trinidad, it's a country, so we have to look at Trinidad and Tobago being a safe place in the mind of the traveler. Because if we are not viewed as somewhere safe and to go, and this, we're not even talking about security, we're talking about how we continue to manage our way out of the pandemic. And in terms of CAL has had a good feedback on how it's safety protocols, and that must be on every facet of the value chain. The hotels, the destination tour management companies, tour operators, taxi drivers, food service, boat, itinerant, as well as all the established quick service and hotel properties. So it's going to take a country to move this forward. It's not going to take we can't do it in a stopgap manner. Uh, we understand what it means not to be able to operate, and I can tell you it's very, very painful. So we must now put whatever mechanism is in place, but we do it as a country. We must do it, ensure that from point A to point Z are all speaking the same language in terms of getting and working our way out of this pandemic. Because
And are we having those consultations? Are we having those meetings to say, I know that there was a roadmap to recovery, but I mean, I haven't heard anything else about that recently. So are we having those consultations so that we can say, okay, as a country, the different sectors, let's come together and figure out, what it is that we need to do to grow the economy and to get things moving?
well, let me say this. The fact that I am seeing that the Ministry of Health is partnering with the private sector, I hope that a page is taken out of their book from a national perspective, because the consultation that you speak of is not happening the way it should as yet. But let's hope now that we have reopened the borders and reopening other facets of the sector, that the consultation can start, and start in a meaningful way.
Mm-hmm. And the border reopening, I mean, you said that there was enough time, for you all to prepare, but do you believe that they should open the categories of people that they're allowing to come in? Because of course, because of the pandemic, there are stipulations about who is vaccinated, who has to be quarantined. How does the association feel about that?
Uh, as we said, we have to be guided by the data. And once, if as you, we are told that even though we are vaccinated, it doesn't prevent us or prevent the spread of COVID. So I think it's the safe. As a country, our leaders have taken an ultra cautious approach to the pandemic, to the detriment and benefits of one life, but sometimes most times to the detriment of livelihoods. We are seeing the balance coming into place now that the vaccines are becoming available, and we need to continue in that manner. We need to continue in that manner. We need to see more marketing. However, we have to take into consideration we may have less resources for marketing, so we need to be very strategic. We need to look at places where we have ready access for flights into Trinidad and Tobago. And we need to ensure that when we encourage people to come in, those who are vaccinated in the first place, because as vaccines become more available to other Caribbean islands, we may also see the regional element of it picking up. But we need to take into consideration something that we have never really done, but I'm seeing it being piloted by one of the smaller islands. We need to also make it more cost effective to travel between the region, because from every Caribbean island, it's cheaper to go outside of the region than to fly to your next door neighbor. So as a region, we have to work on that as well.
Well, you know what? It is something that I've asked about all the time. The last time I spoke with Dion Legore from Caribbean Airlines, she explained to me that it's not a CAL issue. It's that you have to deal with the regional governments and their taxations. But the thing is that, nobody seems to want to fix it, because realistically, it's too expensive to travel within the region. I mean, sometimes I have to go to Jamaica, I have to be spending over $1,000 in the Christmas season. And so it discourages travel within the region.
True. She's right, it's not a CAL issue, it's a CARICOM issue. And we have to want it to work as a region. We are the most tourism dependent region in the world, but we need to ensure that our people as a CARICOM community can visit each other and experience what each other have to offer. Because, while we are competitors, in the full sense of the word, we can be the best allies.
I agree with you. And, the thing is that it's a ready market, and it's a ready market that we're not getting the best out of because of the cost of airfares. It's so much cheaper to go to Miami or to go to the States and to go to Canada than to go to somewhere next door. That's ridiculous.
Well, Natalie, we have a very live example of CARICOM working together. We have been sharing vaccines. We have been working together to bring the region out of the pandemic. It's the start. Let's use that process through whoever is leading CARICOM, I think, right now, to create that. It started, but
Prime Minister
let's make
Gaston
one big
Brown,
bubble.
I think.
Let's
I
make
think
one big bubble, but we all
yeah.
must ensure that we do our part to become part of the bubble.
Yeah, and CARFA has been advocating for that,
Yes.
trying to tell people how they can be safe and, you know, what hotels are certified based on, you know, following certain protocols. So I think you're right that there is a great opportunity. So do you believe that the pandemic then can act as that catalyst to get CARICOM together?
If this doesn't do it, very little will do it otherwise. So I think this is, as I said, it's the perfect example for us to work together. It brought us all on even keel as a tourism destination or the tourism region. And we should come out of it together as a destination, being able to experience each other so we can tell each other about what else they can experience within the region. Forget about the myopic approach. Let's go a little wider than that for once.
Yeah. All right, Hasutam, we are going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for speaking with me this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity, and do have a safe and good rest of the week to you and the team at TTT.
Yes, thank you so much. Hasutam, they're the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Hotel Tourism and Restaurant. Trinidad Hotel Tourism and Restaurants Association. Of course, he's saying the pandemic can and has shown that it can bring us together as CARICOM, and we should work on that and see if we can come out as one entity. We take a break and we'll be back with you.